Having collaborated with Ridley for many years on many projects, there's a shorthand communication system. The first step of which is just to fill a room with as many images of the subject matter as possible in a sort of shotgun blast of a learning process for everyone to see what the possibilities are, and from there edit downward to what we find the most interesting and which he finds some kind of sympathy with the storytelling and that reflects what he's trying to do. From there, then you start on another level of design with conceptual drawings and sketches, trying to flesh out ideas, kick around notions for what's coming off the script pages and what the environments could be like, as well as scouting locations and seeing what the feedback is and how those can be integrated. And what you find in those location scoutings, as we did scout all the available castles in the British Isles that weren't just a pile of old rubble, from Northumberland to what was Mercia and Wessex in the period of our movie, and use those as inspiration as well, and then combine those into more three-dimensional aspects of model making. We've done very large-scale models. This town was done on a model that takes up half the art department, and you can stand 36 people around comfortably. And you can remove sections, and what's great is Ridley can get inside the model and actually physically put his eye to the topography and the buildings. And like Godzilla, he can pick up a building and either destroy it and say, we don't need this, or place it somewhere else. And it's like a kit of parts and a very large train set all combined. And that's how we start. Once we settle on a layout, then we'll start drawing it up for building. And as we build, he often visits the set and walks around the course, even in the early stages, when it's just stakes and colored tapes and poles for height before we go too far. And things are adjusted in stages. And as the buildings progress and the spaces evolve within them and between them, things are adjusted, added, and deleted. So it's a very organic, step-by-step, phase-by-phase process, which is applied to almost every project we've ever done. And it seems to work all right.
I have to say, you go everywhere for research. A lot of research we do through art and museums. Obviously, the internet's helped a huge amount, but actually to see art of the period, to see art of the conceptual art of the period, probably done later, is always very inspirational. In fact, around me there's a lot of pre-Raphaelite art for our females. And we took a lot of inspiration from Bruegel, because the Bruegel landscapes and the colours and the colour palette was what Ridley and I thought would be great for the English countryside of that time. Corot, he always paints beautiful peasants, a huge amount of peasantry in this film. And then for the nobles, we had Georges Latour, who paints beautiful, rich fabrics with small amounts of gilded detail. The colour palette we were working with was quite linear. If you look at any Bruegel, the peasants in it are just literally black silhouettes. And even in close-up, they're very monochrome. So that's what we've been trying to get throughout the entire landscape, which means we had a little bit of freedom to go a little richer with the nobles and the courtiers and the court. The royals were able to afford the latest dyes from Rome, or the latest fabrics, the latest silks and the latest embroidery. They were able to afford nuns going blind throughout France, embroidering their clothing, or their bolts of cloth before they were made up. So yes, we did use stronger colours, keeping it in beautiful jewelled colours that would work with Ridley's vision of the old master. And also more advanced styling.